GoPro died. I managed to leave that thing on every time. I am in the heart of what I really need to pick apart to figure out the next step for getting Tiny down. Or any of those guys, really. Right on the outskirts of this little thick area that's gonna have a bunch of oaks in it, and then right on the perimeter of it is just this thick, it's just filled with like buckthorn and everything else you can imagine that they like to bed in. But right on the edge of this, as you are is almost if you're leaving this area, whether you're bedding in it or feeding in it, and you're gonna come out to this point, and you can tell this has been hit a few times. It's old. It's a really old rub, but it still tells you which way they're gonna feel comfortable coming in and out of here. Big old swamp behind me. It's a good one. It's here every single year. You can imagine all the big ones are hitting that. There's a historical one up there. Yeah, I've just got to pick this apart. Alright, so that giant rub that I found, like I said, that's there every year. I'm probably 15-20 yards from it, and this entire little like oak flat that has all this bedding around the perimeter of it, it all comes right into this point that I'm standing in. And here you can see here's a real old historical one. Real old. It's real tall too. You look over here, here's another old historical that's real tall too. Keep following this trail out here. That's been shred up way back in the day. You can tell that that was hit a long time ago. And we just keep on coming out to this point. This has been hit way back in the day. All of this real old mature buck sign here, and now I'm getting to a point where I'm on the tip of this thing. You can tell something beds right there, back against there. Now we're getting right onto the point. Look at this bed. Perfect little bed. There's one here. There's one back there. And all this point right here, it's like a peninsula, all leads back to that sign. So, get it marked. Definitely gonna end up running a trail camera here. I'm trying to figure out if I can find a way to set a camera up to catch stuff coming in and out of here. Well, I was starting to get a little worried because I had a bunch of encounters back in this little peninsula during the rut, and I wasn't finding any sign. And then I actually came upon the crossing that, if you watched my video, I have a buck come across the river and he gets like swept down by the river, and he ends up coming up right here, right where I was standing at. Nice scrape. Snake out there. Pretty big one. Slowly but surely I'm starting to pinpoint where all of these scrapes usually are each year. This is a new one to me, but it's big enough to let me know that multiple deer were using this and or still are checking in on this. And it's right on this water crossing, man. I know where I'm gonna put my camera at, that's for sure. I'm actually a pretty big fan of pinpointing where water crossings are. You probably learned that by now, but it's just an easy way to not only get intel on the bucks that are in the area, but I always feel like it gives you a 50-50 chance something's either going to cross that water or it's not. I guess you could say that about any spot, but I seem to do a whole lot better when it comes to finding the water crossings, and then kind of base the rest of my scouting off of those water crossings. But I found a good one here. There's this beaten trail that darts right across the water there, and right as you're about to cross the water, there's a licking branch that's been all snapped off. I got that marked. This whole peninsula is pretty much scouted, so we'll work our way back up and hit the rest of the stuff that I kind of left to the side. Following the water edge back, just because I was on the inside of the timber, I want to check the transition of the water. That's perfect bed. Sitting in this cave. Now this is probably used more towards early season October when this still has leaves on it. But lets me know that they like to bed here. There's oaks right in front of them. And I've had encounters where they come from the edge into these oaks while I'm sitting in the oaks. I'm staying more north of where I scouted on the way down there. And I'm picking back up on some of the trails that I came across, some of the rub lines, and then some of the routes out of the bedding that I've originally found right away. This is right outside of one of the first bedding areas that I found today. Branch, snap that one up too. And this leads right into the next thicket. Big old bed here. Big old buck turd in it. More deer shit. And I am in a thicket. Quite the thicket, actually. This one isn't far from the access either. And I've actually never hunted this, but man, there is so much deer shit in here. I'd love to figure out a way to hunt this, but it seems like by the time season gets here and they move into this area, the bird hunters are just insane. It's hard to get in here without them knowing you're next to them too. It's all surrounded by tall grass. Super loud getting in here. There's just poop everywhere. Not a good one. Doesn't look mature at all. That's right in this little dome here. Right on the edge of the cattails. Right as soon as it gets to a flat land, right in this pocket. Okay, I'm gonna find quite a number of beds throughout here. Alright, so I am on this little island of red brush, completely surrounded by cattails. And when I looked at this red brush from far, far away during the season, I told myself, man, there's gotta be some buck bedding in that thing, because it's just secluded. Got in here, milled around, didn't find a single rub. However, no buck nugs here and there. Good ones here. So this would be a pocket that he would lay in right here.